as usual, we have some new faces today, which is nice, and some old favorites. So we will start with your name, who you work for, how long you've been in business, and then what is the biggest source of anxiety or guilt that you're experiencing in your business at present? So Jordan, we'll start with you.
Sure. Hi, I'm Jordan Light. I'm a loan officer with Home Savings and Trust Mortgage. I've been in the business, last month was 2 years now. Biggest source of stress. Probably are feeling guilt if I don't get back to someone like that minute.
Mm-hmm.
Like after hours, after work, I always feel like I have to respond right away and stuff. And I'm doing personal stuff, and that's probably my biggest.
That's the very first thing we're going to talk about. Perfect. Gail?
Hi, I'm Gail Romansky. I'm with Pearson Smith. I've been in the business about 13 years, and I think my dual stress is money and time management.
And the fact that stress maybe causes health problems is what we just talked about.
Stress causes health problems.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm Shannon Lamb. I've been with PSR I haven't been with PSR 3 years, but I've been in business for about 7 years. My biggest source of stress, although I'm trying to like push all the stress away from me these days, but is, we get to the fall and things slow down and you had a great year, but how are you going to get all the business that you did this year next year, and nobody's going to call you and all that kind of stuff. That's typically
The starting over stress. Okay.
My name is Tony McMullen with Pearson Smith. I've been in business for about 2 years. Feel a little anxious in that place right now.
But we welcome you with open arms.
My stress is managing family issues with the business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've all been there. Diane?
Hi, Diane Buckley. I own Stage Envy. I've been in business 4.5 years, and my anxiety, you said anxiety and guilt.
Yeah.
My anxiety is getting larger projects done in between, not being able to block off large amounts of time to get big projects done, and fitting in, work.
Yeah.
That's my biggest anxiety, I guess, and guilt. Guilt. Not cutting off at a certain time every night.
Yeah.
And continuing, because now that I'm an MD master.
Yep. Can go on forever.
Right, I could go on, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Katie?
I'm Katie Solomon, champion title. I would say my biggest anxiety, guilt, all of the things, would be, like you said, cutting off a time. It might just be me and my dog, but I feel like she even gives me like a sad look. Like, it's time for bed, get off your computer. No, but really, even on the weekends, on vacation, my niece looked at me and was like, Kiki, I can't believe you put your phone away. And I was like, oh my gosh, they noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
So cutting off and having that guilt on both sides with business and family.
Yes.
Rough on me.
It's a big one. Christy?
Hi, I'm Christy Hardy, Vice President and Senior Loan Officer at Atlantic Coast Mortgage. I've been a loan officer for 15 years. Anxiety and guilt. I work primarily from home, so I always feel like I'm at work.
Mm-hmm.
So I've really made a concerted effort within the last 12 months to have myself an in time, spend time with the family, but I always feel guilty one way or the other. So I feel guilty because there's always more I can do in my business. Mm-hmm. There's always more. And I feel guilty about wanting more. I feel guilty that I'm not doing what I should be doing. I feel guilty that I'm not helping my team when they're working at night or weekends. So, and then, I feel guilty for feeling guilty.
Yeah.
So that's me.
You're speaking all of our languages. Okay, that was good. Sam?
Hi, Samantha Junador, and I actually in the style solution business, really more personal style. So I have a very flexible, fun lifestyle, but my guilt falls more into, am I doing the highest value activities?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like smacking my hand for going and playing type thing.
Yep.
So play is easy.
Yes, it is.
So
Samantha and I have known each other since middle school, and her husband is with Atlantic Coast Mortgage.
Yeah.
And for those of you who've been in Loudon real estate for a long time, her mom is the famed Helena Talbot. who know a lot of us know. So I love your mom. I'm glad you're here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amy?
I'm Amy Ramsey. I'm also Pearson. I've been there about 2 years, been in the business about 2 years. And I have two, I think, because I'm still relatively new, I think a little anxiety over wanting to be excellent, but still learning to be excellent and learning what's normal and what's kind of expected and what's not okay. And also, I have 2 young kids, and so when I'm doing work that is important and pressing and they're coming up and asking for attention, trying to make sure that I'm letting them know that they're also a priority, but this has to be a higher priority right now, and just balancing the timing and all of that.
Okay.
My name is Jessica Baker. I'm a loan officer with Farm Credit, and I've been there for 12 years. And I would have to piggyback on what you guys have all said as far as cutting off each day and then balancing. I have 2 young kids as well. Balancing my time with them, being away from my phone, my computer, and just focusing on them. So.
Patrice?
I'm Patrice DeHaven with Carrier Way Gifts, and the holidays are coming, so that's anxiety there. And I just got back from my gift basket convention, and so all new ideas to implement and with my coaching and stuff like that. So it's crazy. It's really Christmas, and my supplies are coming in, so it's just managing.
Is that your busy season?
Yes.
Yeah, it's probably for you too, Sam, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Martha?
I'm Martha Gleason, Long Cost Real Estate. I'm just over 4 years in the business, and just all these deals are so complicated recently. And just the stress of trying to make sure that I represent my clients best.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, that and bills. I don't know, yeah, but I'm thinking about doing the right thing.
Yeah.
It's always second guessing.
Yeah. Well, we've all been there. I think no matter how long you've been in business, I think we've all had those experiences, particular transactions or certain situations where you just feel like, am I doing enough? Am I doing the right thing? And obviously you care, and that's why you're having that reaction, which makes you good at what you do.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
And my transaction here was awesome.
Oh, there you go. Excellent. Excellent.
They were all like that.
Yeah.
Great. My client was wonderful, you were wonderful, everyone was wonderful in that. The only one this year. But,
We all have the difficult ones, it's not just you.
Yeah, it's true. Susan?
Susan Bixby, I'm now at Long Cost Fairfax, and I've been in business about 4.5 years. I think I put most of the anxiety and stress comes from myself. And so I'm responsible for that, but I think just not doing enough doing this, and knowing what I need to do, and knowing that I'm not doing it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's good. So some common, consistent themes that we heard over and over again. My team and I had this conversation about a month ago, and it's kind of consistent. We all, and I think Susan kind of said it all in a nutshell, is we put it on ourselves because we take on a lot of the stress and a lot of the things that we are thinking that we should do. Our clients aren't necessarily thinking that, and if they are, then maybe they're not our people. So what I did is I came up with a list of sort of topics of the different things that I have found are sort of recurring themes, the things that we talked about that cause the stress and the anxiety, and then just some things that have helped me. I am certainly not, I have had my fair share of stress and anxiety and still do to this day. I don't think we can ever let go of it, but there are definitely things that you can do that can soothe it and eliminate some of the extraneous stuff. And so I'm going to share that with you today. So one of the first things that we talked, that several people I heard talk about, working all the time, your office is in your home, so you feel like you're working nonstop, is that boundaries issue. Because it seems like we are, with the internet, it's like 24/7. When I started in business, it wasn't this bad, and I feel like it's gotten dramatically worse, especially over the last maybe 5 or so years. People can reach you anytime, and they expect, I think sometimes we think that they expect to reach us anytime. So one of the things that I know is my great sources of stress, what stresses me out, is when I'm having dinner with my family and then the phone rings. Oh, who is that? Do I need to get that? Are they going to be upset that I didn't call? Is it urgent? Or I'm out with my son and I'm like worrying. Oh my gosh, is the phone going to ring? Like, is the phone going to ring? And the phone doesn't ring, but you still feel the stress, right? So I think we all feel that, and I think what we have to do is we have to understand that the value that we're bringing is not being available all the time. The 24/7 service is not what makes us good at what we do. We're talking about how you, Jessica, specialize in a very specific type of loan product, right? And so that is very valuable. And so I don't think your clients are going to expect you to answer the phone every single minute. I don't expect my doctor to answer the phone every minute. If I need my accountant, I don't expect them to answer the phone at 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning. So I think that that's kind of the key. Does anybody have sort of hours? We've talked about this a lot in the group, that you try to work. Martha, are you nodding your head over there? Do you try to give yourself hours for work?
Yeah. But it's probably later than it should be, but 8 o'clock. I haven't been busy sleep.
Yeah. That's good. But that's good.
It's definitely a plus for money person.
So you're giving yourself a boundary.
Yeah, I don't think it's after 8. I could probably make it work. But I think you gotta get some after hours.
Yeah. Anybody else? What are you doing, Shannon?
I may have told you this. I finally put on my phone that on my message that if this call is received after 7 p.m., it may be returned the next business day. My husband laughed at it. Oh, it may be returned. I'm like, well, I may return, but it's, hey, I didn't have any hours before, so I'm saying I may not get back to you, and I'm letting them know that. And then another agent had that on her phone. I'm like, I'm doing that because I need to start setting boundaries.
Yes,
so.
good for you. And does that help you in the evening to feel a little bit more at ease?
Yeah, well, I think it tells your clients that, hey, I'm a regular business. I'm not here open until midnight if you want to talk to me.
Yes.
And so I think that reminds them, because I think they forget that you have a life too, and you might have other things that you need to do. So.
Well, and you know what? We train them, because when we answer the call at 9 o'clock or we respond to the text at 10:30, we've taught them that this is a perfectly fine time for them to reach out to us and communicate with us. So sometimes I think it's as much our fault. Like Susan said, we put this on ourselves because we do it, and then okay, great, and I'll just keep reaching out to her at all hours of the night. I think sometimes too, I know for myself, and I don't know if any of you are like this, that when I think of something, if I don't do something about it right that minute, I will forget, and it will be a week before I remember again. And so sometimes I'm firing off that email at 11 o'clock. I won't usually text it, but just because it's in my brain and I need to get it out, not because I'm expecting them to respond. And I think that's true for our clients, right? I see lots of head nodding. Anybody else struggling with hours, working certain hours? Katie?
You're looking.
Yeah.
I'm just smiling.
Yeah, I know.
I will say
Guilty.
I have set hours except for exceptions. And
yeah.
that's the thing. So like in my team, I say if a loan application comes in after 4, I don't expect us to work on that until the next day.
That's right.
And we don't even have to necessarily communicate that.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody needs something like an approval letter at 7 p.m., I will ask, and that's where it falls on me. I am fine with texting, and I think for me, you have to set an agreement with yourself, like what are you okay with?
Yes.
I'm kind of like that. Like if I don't get to it, I'm afraid I won't get to it. It'll stress me out more than if I just do a 2-second text.
Yeah. So
I have an agreement with myself that I'll text, but the text is going to say, is this urgent, or can it wait till the first thing in the morning?
Perfect.
And 99.999% of the time, it can wait till the next time in the morning.
That's
if
right.
it can't, I can do an approval letter on my phone.
Yeah.
It takes me 3 minutes. But that's how I justified it in the past. Oh, it only takes me 3 minutes.
Yes.
And now I have boundaries where we do it.
That's good. Well, because you're right, there are certain things that we do that are time sensitive. If you're negotiating a contract, if an agent's trying to write an offer, there are things that sometimes we do have to do late, but the majority of what we do is it really that case? And I think sometimes people, just like our anxiety, our clients, will have increased anxiety sometimes in the evening, or they're home from work and then their mind starts spinning with a lot of things, and then they start firing off questions and texts and things to us, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's urgent and that we have to address it right then. And so giving yourself some time. I remember long time ago, I was an EMT, and we used to talk about almost like 85% of anybody who called 911 after like 10 o'clock at night was something that could have waited till the next day, but their anxiety, like at nighttime, is when people start to worry, right? You're not at work anymore. So that back pain that you've had for 2 weeks suddenly feels like, the end of the world. And I think it's with our clients too. They get home from work, and then all of a sudden they're starting to pack, and they're starting to worry, and they're starting to think, and so then they're reaching out to us. So setting expectations, I think, is a big one. I'm like Martha, like 8 o'clock is like my kind of deadline in the evening. And so if somebody calls me, I won't answer, and I will send them a text usually and just say, I'm winding down for the evening. Is it urgent, or can I get back to you first thing in the morning? And 99.999% of the time, no, it's not urgent, and you just call first thing, and it's fine. And if it's after 9:15ish, I'm not going to see it because my phone turns off. So, Vicki is guilty of doing what you said, Christy, where she'll be on vacation or she'll be at lunch, and well, this is just really quick. It'll take 10 seconds for me to reply, but it doesn't, because then that opens up to another one, and then another one, and then another one. So. Anybody else have any thoughts about that particular topic? Question?
I feel like I'm waiting all day for things to happen.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, now it's starting.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just hard.
Well, you're right, because there is sometimes, when our clients are getting off work at that 5-6 o'clock hour, we've worked all day and we're trying to wind it down maybe a little bit, and then you can sometimes get that rapid fire. So maybe having, a little window for yourself that maybe, I'm going to check back in at this period of time. Maybe I have, who was I talking to? Caitlin Ellis, who's on our team. She's the cutest little baby. And she felt like a lot of people were talking about working nonstop. And so she has made the decision that at 5 o'clock, she stops. That's when she picks up her daughter. And from 5 to 8, she is with her daughter. And she's not, there's exceptions. But then she knows at 8 o'clock, that's what works for her, at 8 o'clock, she checks in. So anything that she's missed, if she needs to make a phone call, if she needs to do a text, if she needs to respond to an email, but it's not as stressful for her and doesn't cause as much anxiety because she has a plan. So I think the plan is important.
One other thing is, and you may have talked about this as well, is sometimes it's better for me to work at night because my kids are down and stuff like that. So I will be sending off emails and stuff like that. So I schedule them to go at 8 a.m. the next morning. And then my phone, I don't know if Apple does this, I can schedule texts. I schedule texts at 11 p.m. Yep, and they go out anytime I want them, the next day or whenever. So it looks like because I will not remember a lot of the stuff in the morning, but as I'm sitting down,
I need to know that too. Yeah, how do you do that?
Apple does it. It's Samsung.
There's probably an app for Apple.
Yeah, I'm sure there's an app. Yeah, we have the swipe and we have the scheduling text, but we don't have some other things.
I want to look into that. Yeah, because you're right about that. Somebody I used to work for, he and I used to talk about that because he would do the same. Like, he was a late night person. It just kind of worked with his rhythm. But he didn't want people to see that he was emailing at 11 o'clock because then they would expect a response and he'd get into a dialogue. So he would schedule everything to go the next morning. So I love that. You get your thing done, but all right, I need to look into scheduling text.
Work at night, but if they don't think I am, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, better for them not to know. Yeah, better to keep it separate. Over here.
We've always felt like if we scheduled a weekend away or a vacation, that's when all the business happens.
Yes, always, always.
It's the best way to get busy.
It's the best way to get busy,
Yeah.
for sure. So my husband's not an active agent anymore, but when he was, he would talk about how flexible his schedule was, and I'd be like, you have taken 10 days off this year.
Yeah, it's not that flexible.
Most people take 114.
Right, that's right. And so what did he do, and I'm sure even now too, are there certain parameters that he...
Well, he would try to set up relationships with a referral agent, but then you feel guilty for leaving because you're putting thousands of dollars on the line or a relationship on the line. So it was definitely hard.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you have advice for that, but I would imagine all of you must deal with, like, how do you get away? How do you walk away from business?
It's you have to have a plan, and that's the thing. I have been, and I've told this story lots of times, that when I first started in business, I messed up a whole family vacation because I was worried about this buyer, and I was kind of new in business, and so I was trying to do everything, and I didn't feel like I had the right to ask somebody else to cover for me because I just started. And so we left our vacation early so I could meet this guy, and then while we were gone, I'm on the phone, and then we came back early so I could show him things, and he never bought anything ever. And I was like, you know what, I am not ever going to let this happen again. And so you just have a plan. You get somebody to cover for you, and you know, I have to say, I think part of it, like Susan said, we do it to ourselves because it's a little bit of our own ego, right? Nobody is going to be able to help them like I do, or they really want me, or they just want me. But the truth is, if you say, this is how it's going to be, this is how I do it, this is what's going to happen, people just want to know that they're going to be taken care of, most are not going to question you. I mean, I can't think of any business that I've lost over the years from going on multiple vacations, so. Chrissy, did you want to add something? I think you were.
Oh, I think it was about the scheduling hours. So, 15 years in the business, 14 of them, I never scheduled hours. I really worked 24/7.
Yeah.
And I was proud of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I realized, and it was from coaching. Didn't come up with this on my own, but from my coaching experience, they said, the day before you go on vacation, how productive you are,
Yes.
and get all
Yes.
this stuff done. And same thing if you give yourself a deadline each day. And my assistants do it. They cut off at 5:30
Yes.
every day. And they are so productive
Yes.
between 8:30 and 5:30. I mean, they're maniacs.
Yep.
So I said, well, I'll give it a shot.
Yes.
Who knows?
Yes.
So sure enough, I gave myself a deadline every day, and now I'm so much more productive.
Yep.
I don't waste my time, whatever. I don't waste
Yes.
my time doing silly things,
Yes.
time-wasting things. So yeah, I think giving yourself a deadline each day
Yep.
is amazing. It's working really
You're
well.
absolutely right, because I've told this story before. When I took a break and I went out of sales to be a managing broker, one of my things was, okay, if I'm going to do this, I want hours. I'm not going to work all night, although I did take a lot of calls, but it's going to be different. And so I intentionally, and I realized the same thing, oh my gosh, all of a sudden, knowing that I'm leaving the office at 5:30 or 6, I was so much more productive because I wasn't running the errand to Target, and I wasn't throwing in the extra load of laundry. I was focused on getting my work done. And it was a huge difference. So yes, I would encourage that. It is shocking
It took me 14 years
to figure that out. Because I think we assume that flexibility doesn't mean office hours, but sometimes it does. That gives you the flexibility. So, did I see a hand, Tony? No? Okay. Any other thoughts on that topic? And so one more thing I'll say about that is about being the boss of your schedule. So, again, one of the things that's most again, for me, this is one of my anxiety things, is I don't like to say no to people. And somebody, of course, would always want to schedule something at a time that I have something else scheduled. So just like any other professional, I drive the schedule. Great. I would love to meet with you. I can do it today at 4 or tomorrow at 10, which works better for you. And they will almost always choose something that you suggest. If you just leave it open, well, when would you like to see it? You've set the expectation that you have nothing else going on and that you are at their beck and call, and they will pick the one time over the next week that you have something really important going on. So I would encourage you. I sit with Vicki in my office, and I'm constantly hitting her chair because I'll hear her on the phone. When would you like to meet? And that's just don't do that. Give a specific time. That's important. Yeah. Anybody else on that? Okay.
I feel guilty with that sometimes.
Why?
But with I'll say, sometimes I will give the two options and they'll be like, oh, yeah, no, and it won't work. And then it always ends up on something that when I actually am trying to have a personal life,
Yes.
it's on that day.
Yeah.
But I do have to say, my colleague Brian always told me in the beginning, he's like, when you say yes to something, you have to remember that you're saying no to something else.
100%.
And so ever since then, I would start thinking of that.
Yes.
What am I actually saying no to? And then I got better at saying no.
Good. Good.
And
Well,
if they need to buy a house, they'll take off a Monday.
that's right. If it's that important, then they're going to make time in their schedule. So I think we have to control hours. And when you are, when they want to schedule, when you have something personal, I hope you don't say, I'm going out with my girlfriends. I hope you say, I have another appointment.
Oh, yeah. Totally don't say
Okay,
that.
good. Okay, good. Because I know plenty of people. I mean, I've heard lots of agents over the years say, oh, that's my son's baseball game, or oh, that's my whatever. And, unfortunately, you know, as much as we like to say that people aren't going to judge you for that, there are people who are going to judge you for that because people are inherently selfish and they want what's important to them. And so you've planted a little tiny seed that, oh, well, maybe, you know, they won't be available to me because they're doing this personal thing, or I really like them. I don't want to interrupt their personal thing, so I'm going to just call this listing agent. So it's always, I have an appointment. Okay. Any more thoughts on that? I think we've covered that. Okay. And then we actually started talking about this a little bit about the vacations, is having a plan. And you know what? Having a plan does not just have to be about going on a vacation. If you know that you're not going to be available for a few hours, it's, you know, my son's birthday party is tomorrow afternoon. I know that from like 4 until 7, I'm going to be overrun with 10-year-olds, and so I'm not going to be answering the phone. So maybe you change your voicemail. You know, again, you don't have to say what you're doing, but I am going to have very limited availability during this time frame today. Please reach out to so-and-so, or I will give you a call as soon as I finish. I mean, I think that can help. I was at a wedding recently with some friends who are agents, and one of the agents I was sitting with at the table said, there's been so many weddings that I have spent sitting in my car, like working on my phone or doing a contract. And I think we've all had those experiences. You know, it's a family birthday party. I remember my husband had a promotion, and there was a dinner, and they're all inside and I'm outside on the phone. And, you know, that's not cool either. So have a plan. If you know that there's something special that you don't want to have to worry, you know, you don't want to have the guilt, I'm not providing service, then have somebody cover for you. That's okay. You can do it for someone else, and they can do it for you. Does anybody do that? Do you have a buddy that you work with? Yeah? Does Ryan cover you primarily?
Ryan and I make sure that we kind of cover each other. So like I'll let him know when I'm out of town. I'm normally out of town the same week every year. I don't really take a lot of time off. And then when he's out, we always kind of try to, you know, touch base early on so that we know when each other are going to come on. But then also I have caught myself telling our team, like, they know when I'm going on vacation, and they'll catch me sending emails at the beginning of vacation, and they'll email me back in like all caps. So like, get off your phone, or get off your email, or we've got this, leave us alone. Like, you know what I mean? But it actually helps me because now I know they know when I'm gone, so they kind of are the ones telling me like, quit it. You know?
That's good. And sometimes we need that, right? Because we need people to tell us that they're okay and that we don't have to do everything for them.
Yeah.
I take multiple vacations a year at this point, and I always have somebody cover for me. And what works for me is I can't stand coming back to like an overflowing email inbox. So I will, that is the only thing I'll do, usually first thing in the morning. I'll just do a quick kind of scan of my email while I'm away. If there's something that's important, I'll forward it to whoever is covering for me. And then I move it out of my inbox into like another box to look at when I get back, and I delete the rest. So at least I'm not feeling that stress of, you know, all of these emails, and then you start feeling guilty, and then you're missing something. And so have a plan. I mean, it's really, that's part of the beauty of us, you know, having a life by design, or, you know, having a flexible business. You also have the flexibility to create a plan for yourself when these things happen. Jordan?
So I work with my uncle, so normally when he's out of town, I'll cover for him and vice versa, which has been really helpful. And then, because we both know how each other works, so we can accountability. But I went on vacation for my first, I've taken like a few like weekend trips, but my first like week long, and I was stressing out because I feel like every time I go somewhere on the weekend, my backpack with my laptop's in my car in case I needed to do something quickly. So I had it with me, but I only had like 2 hours before we went to the beach for the day, and then 2 hours when we got back in, and that was like relaxing because in the day I knew he was taking care of everything, and I could just relax. But still, that was like, should have probably done less than that. But
so you'll, like, this was the first time that you did a long one, right? So over time, I think what happens is the more that we do these things, it can be hard to get started, right? Like Shannon's got the voicemail. So, but the more you do it, the more you realize, oh, this is actually okay, and this is actually going to work out, and then you can start tweaking and changing what you do so that it's less and less, and then eventually you don't even take it at all, which is a nice thing to do. Anybody else struggle with that, going away?
I need to find somebody to pair up with.
Okay.
That's what I was going to say. With team, if you're not on a team,
Yeah, so what would you suggest? I mean, obviously I need to know, I'd probably get somebody kind of in my area that where it's easy for them, or you?
No, not necessarily. So I obviously wasn't always on a team, and so I would just partner with a colleague that I trusted. And it doesn't necessarily, if you think about that person can also sort of be like a, they're kind of the air traffic controller, if you will. So it can also be a paid like assistant. It doesn't necessarily have to be an agent. It could be a friend that you trust to, cover your phones that you pay. But they have kind of a list of agents that they can contact. And so it doesn't have to be somebody who's right in your area. It could be somebody that you trust, that you would feel comfortable with them talking to your clients. And then you just kind of give them rules. Okay, if this person calls, I always give a little synopsis of what's going on with my transactions. If you need to have a showing, this person or this person, I'm willing to pay them to show. So you just kind of have a contingency plan. It doesn't mean that the person covering for you is doing your business 24/7, but they're just sort of directing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Make sure that
and I'm
handled.
thinking of mostly just showing house, because I already have an assistant that can do stuff while I'm gone, so just like who I would partner with.
So you make a couple, and it doesn't have to be one. It can be several agents, and you talk to them in advance. Hey, I'm going to be going away. If anything of mine needs to be shown, I'm happy to, pay a referral fee, or I'll just trade with you or whatever. Is it okay if we lean on you? And then just give that list of names to your assistant.
So I have listed a couple of agents based on geographic area too.
Mm-hmm.
So that way if things come in for a specific place,
Right.
it's easier for them.
Yes.
So that they're not flying all
That's
over
right.
the place.
That's right. Yeah, for sure. And that's something that you always want to try to figure out is who is close. Because you're right, especially if somebody is covering for you, you don't want them driving 45 minutes to go show something. Anybody else struggling with that? Okay. What else did we have here? Okay, treating your business like a business. So a couple people I heard mentioned stress about not having enough business, or you're kind of at that point in the year, Shannon, where you've done really well and then now it's kind of slowed down. I think it was Christy said, like there's never enough business. I wrote down something that you said that I thought was really good. Feeling guilty for wanting more, which that's a good one. I think somebody else said guilty about money. So I think that there is this feeling sometimes with our business that it is very up and down. And just because you've had a great 6 months, that doesn't mean that your next 6 months are going to be great too, because the reality is, unfortunately, most agents don't treat their business like a business. I'm sure it happens with loan officers and other people too. And so when you are all in taking care of your clients, when you've got those active transactions, especially when you have messy transactions, right? You are dedicating all of your time and energy to fix whatever this problem is. And when you're doing that, then that means you're probably also not prospecting. You're probably also not staying in touch with your clients, because that stuff seems less important. Because I'm so busy with the transaction, these other things don't feel important. But the problem is, the minute those transactions are done, because you've not invested the time and the effort in keeping that going, then all of a sudden you're going to find yourself with nothing going on. And so that's why you have to have a consistent system or business for staying in touch, because you're going to be constantly on that up and down. I remember I went to a Jen Duplessis, she was a loan officer, she did a great talk one time about time management or something. She talked about this, and she's like, we're over here, we're running, and we're getting the deal done, and then all of a sudden, then nothing. And what you do now, the business that we're doing now, so anybody I had a vendor appreciation breakfast this morning that we did. The stuff that I'm doing now is what's going to pay me in 3 months, and 4 months, and 5 months, and 6 months. So, and likewise, what I'm getting paid for right now is what I did over the summer. And I maybe didn't do as much work over the summer, so then my fall tends to be a little lighter, right? So I think we all experience that. So I think it's important to keep that in our mind, that this business is a business of investment in both time and money, and you can't just snap your fingers and turn it on. You have to, so that's why it's so important to have a system, whether it's spending 30 minutes a day or an hour a day, or maybe you block 2 hours a week that you focus on building your business. Doing social media. Samantha, you are so good with social media, which I know is big for your business. Getting yourself out there, becoming known, that is what's going to help you. Who's got problems with that? Anybody? Challenges in that area? Martha? Do you feel like you're just not?
Yeah, you get so involved in the transactions, it's hard to stay consistent with it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel
Because that stuff doesn't feel as important. It doesn't feel as important as this urgent thing that you're dealing with. I really, really try, and every day is not perfect. Today is definitely a day I haven't been able to do that, but I really try that the first hour of my day is some kind of focused effort on my business. And that can be whatever time. I mean, most days I get to the office around 9:15ish, but that's not every day. So it's usually that first hour I'll try, because once you get past that first hour of the day, I mean, it all breaks loose, and we have no control. So.
I read that book on the cabinets.
Are you?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yes.
And yeah, I was realizing that's what I need to do.
Uh-huh.
Just do it the first thing in the morning and
Yes.
sit up.
Yes, and be very regimented, right? So Martha's in our coaching program, and you have your plan, so you know what you need to work on, and you have a certain number of things that you're going to do every day. For me, it's a certain number of notes or a certain number of calls, or a certain number of pop-bys that somebody else is going to deliver for me. I mean, I have that plan, and then you can execute that plan. It makes it easier.
And I think part of what you're saying is, while you're busy, you're not out there prospecting.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of circling back to how you use social media for prospecting.
Yes.
If I was a realtor, if I had to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Kelly Gayton is a great example
Yeah.
of this. She literally says, going out with buyers to show them 3-horse properties today. And then she says, next day it's 3 summons today, I'm exhausted. Like, she's telling social media what she's doing, which doesn't include going to the bathroom, which I know we all don't like.
Yeah.
Right? But she's there. Like, I would imagine if I was you, I'd be walking up to a house and taking a photo of it with a love, need, like, leave, whatever type comment. Not because that's prospecting. That's 300 people seeing what you're doing. You've just touched 300 people because you walked into a house and posted a photo of it.
Yes.
And I wouldn't necessarily say love, leave, or whatever, but whatever you're saying there, like, social media is such a simple way to be prospecting on the go.
I could not agree with you more. You're absolutely correct, because what you're doing is you're taking, and it's a mindset. It takes time to get used to doing this. What you're doing is you're basically taking the work that you're doing in your business, which we're all so busy for, and you're using it to help you grow your business, right? You're doing it anyway. And I think, why do people not do it? They are afraid to put themselves out there. They think that what they're doing is not exciting. And you get better at it. I used Gabrielle and Alex helped me for quite a while to kind of learn what I was doing with social media and figure out what made me comfortable and what makes sense and what people like. And it's just trial and error. And social media has been a pillar in my business for years now. And you're right, it's easy, it's free. You just got to be willing to do it.
Don't think of it as taking extra time to do it.
Yes.
Just do it as you're going. Like, I would take a photo of this room or grab the photo that you take and say, I went to a lunch with a empowering real estate lunch. So it reminds people that you're in business.
That's right. That's right. Exactly right. One thing I learned from that Alex taught me was sometimes I won't maybe do it in the minute because I'm busy talking to people, so I don't want to be on my phone. But I become conscious to take pictures. So when I was at the appreciation breakfast this morning, I was taking a lot of pictures. And then when I finished, when I was in my car getting ready to leave to come here, then I posted everything to my stories. And people don't necessarily notice that I wasn't doing it live, but they're seeing kind of the progression of my day. So I love that. That is so good. Any other thoughts on that? Shannon?
So it was a sad day when I realized I was never going to be Karen Cooper.
Oh, stop.
But I realized that, and so I was like, okay, I'm not gonna get up or like even a Dustin Fox. I'm not gonna get up at 5 a.m. and like meditate for an hour and journal and do all this stuff. And so I had to realize what I am gonna do, because thinking about doing that actually added to my stress.
Yes.
So for me, I was like, okay, what can I do? When that hamster wheel starts rolling in January, February, and I'm like, I can't do all this extra stuff, I'll try to reach out a little bit, but when things slow down in the fall, I'm gonna go hardcore and try to put some systems in place that can continue through my difficult or my crazy months.
Yes.
But that's what I had to let that go and go. I'm not gonna be a Karen Cooper, and that's okay. I can do what I can do, even with social media too. I do post exactly like you said, but I just feel it's like unnatural if I do more of that. So I really try to keep it
do what feels comfortable to you. Yeah. Well, look, like, you're Shannon Lamb, who is really freaking awesome with like 5 kids and a great business, and you do incredible videos for your listings. And so there's a lot of amazing things that you do. So be true to that. You know, I mean, I think it's when we start to compare ourselves. Vicki and I had this conversation this week. We're trying to figure out some things with our team, and it's like, well, this one does this and that one does that, and then of course we immediately start feeling bad and like, wait a minute, like we've done some really awesome things. Why are we comparing ourselves to somebody else? You know, we don't know what it took them to get where they are, and maybe we don't exactly want to be where they are. So figure out what's comfortable for you. I like what you're saying too about doing a little bit more when you're not busy, because this is where you get to lay the foundation so that you have those habits, right? The book Atomic Habits. Then you have the habits so that when you are busier, it's still a part of you and you can keep that going. So keep that going. Anybody else have any thoughts on that? Comments on that? Okay. Let me see. Other elements of stress. Okay, so how do you, so that's a lot of the things that cause us stress. What can you do to kind of put things in place in your business to, we're never going to eliminate all of the stress, unfortunately. I think that's just the reality. We're always going to have, you know, Tony, we're going to have things in our life that are happening that we can't necessarily control or that we're having to deal with, but business doesn't stop. I mean, there's a lot of that stuff that's going on. So what are the fixes for that? So for me, it's been having a tribe. So having people that I trust, whether it's one person or 2 people or 10 people that preferably in the industry who know what you're dealing with. You know, it doesn't matter how well-intentioned my husband is or how long we've been married, and he's heard me talk about ad nauseum about thousands of stories and situations. He's never going to understand it like you're going to understand it, or like Amy's going to understand it. Like it's just not possible. So, so find a person or 2, and there's people out there who are looking for that also. Somebody that you can connect with. Hi, Jean, come on in. So find somebody who can like be your person, who can connect with you, so that when you're having that really terrible day, or you're having that client that's stressing you out, or that difficult situation, okay, it's one thing to call your broker and get advice, but it's not just the practical advice that you need, it's the support. It's the person who understands, can maybe give you a little bit of a reality check on how you're feeling. Earlier this year, Vicki was going on vacation, and she'd actually taken a couple shorter vacations this summer, and she was feeling super, super guilty. You know, she's got a kid in college. You know, when they're home, you want to do things more frequently, right? Because you don't see them all year round. So she's getting ready to go on this vacation again, and she's feeling guilty. I've already told them twice that I'm going to be away, and you know, I'm just not going to tell people that I'm going to be away. And she like totally worked herself into this tizzy because of a comment one of her clients made. And I was like, look, this is absolutely ridiculous. This is what you're going to do, and this is how you're going to do it, and you're going to tell the clients very specifically, I'm so grateful to have taken multiple trips this year. I'm going away with my family. Here's what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And everybody was wonderful to her, and they were all gracious, and they said, oh, I'm so happy you get to have this time with your family. Even the client she was worried about was fine. So you need that person who can say to you, just relax, right? Like, it's okay, or try this instead. Who has a person? Anybody have a person? Yeah. Barbara?
I think it's also important. See, even you know her.
Yeah. It's like all you on social media.
I think it's important to also choose to not have some people in your circle, especially if they are more likely to bring you down. Like,
yes.
Take that average 5 people you are around. Are they pulling you down or lifting you up? Because you
100%.
definitely need more people lifting you up.
For sure. You're absolutely, it's just as important, if not maybe even more important. Who else has a tribe? Who has a group? Who's in your group? Where'd you find them?
I have a couple of agents that came over to Pearson Smith when I came over, and we get together. We're getting ready to have a breakfast and talk about things that worked, but most importantly, what didn't work and what have we learned from it. Because I've told the agents I mentor, I learn something from every transaction.
Yes.
So we'll email and text each other. I have a transaction coordinator. I'm a single agent, but I have a transaction coordinator, and I also have a business coach. So, so it's important. But one of the things that I've been hearing, and Martha's very, emotional. Thank you. Little speech about stress. So I think sometimes I look back at the old me, and then I look at the new me, and how empowering it is to say no and to go to an appointment with a client and say, I'm not the right agent for you.
Yes.
When you know it's going to be a disaster.
Yes.
And I've watched it happen, and I've watched listings where I said, no, I'm not the right agent. And I've watched multiple agents have that
Yes.
listing, and
Yes.
it's been disastrous.
Yes.
And I tend to stay very calm in intense situations.
Yes.
I've had to do that for health issues on my kids who've had some health issues. Bless you. So, and I also lost my older son 9 years ago. So when you look at, and let's look at 9/11 yesterday, when you look at some of the horrific things people have gone through, I don't necessarily get that uptight because it's all fixable. If someone's not dying or whatever, this is all fixable. So we can say, it's okay, we'll get it done.
Yeah.
When the clients are like hanging off the roof, you know, we will get this done and it's fixable.
That's such a powerful perspective, Gail, because you're right. I mean, people seem to get heightened over the end of the, it's the end of the world, and you're right. It's not. I mean, you know this.
It's not.
And so when we can be calm and remain calm, I think it's very helpful, and we can bring that back to reality.
And also, just real quickly, and remove the drama.
Yes.
Because when, like you were saying, the people in your life and who you surround yourself with is so important, because we are a part of that. And I removed some people that were in the business and other people that were swirling drama all the time. I say, I know what real drama is. I don't need to have that kind of drama in my life.
Yes.
Usually they say things like, I don't like drama.
Yes. But they are the drama.
They are
yes, they are the drama. So true.
That's a really good
So
thing.
true. Yes. Or I don't want to talk about somebody, and then they go into talking about,
It's the whole Mean Girl stuff.
Yeah. And what you said too, and then Christine, I think Shan, you had your hand up too. I love what you said about making the choice, because we can see it coming. Like, I can go to an appointment and I can see a mile away, this is not going to be good. This is not for me. This is not going to work. They're going to make me crazy, and no amount of money is worth what they're going to put me through.
Exactly.
But what gives us confidence to do that is because we prospect and because we have a strong business. And if you are not doing those things and you're on the roller coaster, then you feel like you have to take anything you can get.
We have a quote on our board in our office that says, if you generate, you don't have to tolerate.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I'm going to write that down. Christy?
I was just going to add to that, like, I've worked with thousands of realtors in my career, and to me, it's a clear sign of a new agent. No offense if you're new, but inexperienced, I should say. So inexperienced agents and, desperation.
Yeah.
So when I'm working with, there'll be some crazy thing, and most of the time, almost all the time, it has nothing to do with me. But they'll call to tell me how awful the other side is, and then I'm going to tell them how awful they are, and they're not talking, and can I communicate it? And I'm like, this is, everybody just calm on down.
Yes,
It's
yes.
going to be all right.
Yes.
Everything's good.
Yes.
But that to me, it comes from experience. It comes from a place of abundance.
Yes.
Not feeling desperate.
Yes.
And I always try and just bring everybody back to that level. Like, let's just calm on down.
Somebody has
It's
to.
gonna be okay.
Yep.
It's all gonna work out. But I think as an agent, that is your job, is to calm everything down.
Yes.
So when you feel that start to bubble up, just call Karen or me.
Well, that's where you need to have a person, right? Because if you have a person who can be the reality check for you and say, okay, everybody just needs to calm down.
And definitely, this I got from coaching too, but you can be in a place of abundance or a place of fear before you pick up the phone to talk to anybody or shoot off a text or an email.
Yes.
Make sure you yourself are in a good place. Because it's
For
never
sure.
going to look good on you to come from that path.
No.
It's never, ever, 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 ever.
That's great
I
advice.
see it all the time, every day, every single day I see it.
Yep. It's great advice.
Yeah.
Something on my last listing appointment before I went, I wrote them a thank you note for choosing me.
Oh, see? So you put out there what you wanted to have, and it worked.
That's cute.
Okay.
That's like what you said,
yeah.
though, like you're saying, like some people will call you like freaking out.
Yeah.
And when I first started, I would be like, now I'm freaking out.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? And then it would take those people in my tribe to be like, hey, you're like you're getting worked up over it and you shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
But it's true sometimes. But now, as being in this a little bit longer,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, let's relax, breathe in, breathe out. I don't know how many times I've said that.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said in the beginning, though, I would let it make me like, now I'm stressed out. Now I can't focus.
Yeah.
You know?
That's right. And we all do that.
Yeah.
But I think Christy also brings up a good point, and that's having a coach
Yes.
and having somebody you can talk to
Yes.
who can dedicate that time.
Yes.
Because sometimes you feel like you're talking to somebody and they've got other things going on.
Yeah.
Whereas with the coach, that's dedicated time
Yeah.
that you can talk
Who's
to
focused on
somebody.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a therapist, which I
Seriously.
recommend. I know.
Yeah.
Thank you, Katie. So another thing that I highly recommend is getting out of the house. We have the ability, we work with people, but a lot of times we don't maybe have appointments, you're working from home, and if you're in a bad place and you're feeling down and you're wound up and something going on, like staying home alone is not the thing to do. So, in your sweatpants and, in my comfy clothes, that is not going to work out well. So get dressed, go to a coffee shop, go to your office. Like I find that getting around people is the best way to fix that energy. When you're in that like drama place and you're feeling anxious and like, everything is terrible, just get out of the house. Anybody have a favorite get out of the house place you like to go?
I'm like Rich Top Coffee and stuff.
There you go. Okay. Just getting out and being around people.
It's wonderful.
It's wonderful.
They have a little room that can hold 8 or 10 people.
Yes.
And you can reserve that.
Yes.
For free, so
Perfect.
that's nice.
Perfect. I love that. So this is something that my therapist recommended. After my mom died, I started seeing the same. But anyway, long story. I know we should all have one.
I do.
Fabulous. So one of the things that Margie recommended is that you have a happiness list. It's like a 5-minute happiness list. And so I have a little list in my phone of things that make me happy, or things that I can do when I'm feeling, because I get a lot of, a lot of anxiety. So when I'm feeling overly anxious, I have a little list of a bunch of things that I know make me feel better. Going out and sitting on my porch, making a cup of tea, walking to the mailbox. I could paint my nail. Like I literally have a little list of quick things, and it is amazing to me how I can be feeling so crazy and so upset and so worked up over, a transaction or whatever the situation is. And when I stop and I shift my focus and do one of these little activities, it changes how you feel completely. And then the beauty of that is once you change how you feel, then you can usually approach that situation in a little different way, which is going to open it up and make it better for you. So anybody have something like that? Any little what would be on your 5-minute happiness list?
I was in a house the other day, and in the kitchen there was a list that was kind of colored. It was clearly her daughter's list. She was helping her daughter manage anxieties, which convey to us as parents.
Yes, for sure.
But just a really
It's a nice
sweet,
idea.
20 things that make her happy.
Really?
So
Oh, that's
that was
awesome.
a great idea.
I
Not
like
just
that.
for business people, but for
It works for
everyone
kids
should
too.
have
Anybody? What would be on your list? Anybody have anything that would be on your list?
margaritas.
Margaritas. Margaritas are good. Drinking is always good. Never a bad idea.
My dogs.
Your dogs, Shannon.
I actually love my house, so I backed Lake Manassas. I mean, it's a gorgeous view. Anyway, so I look at it from the inside a lot of times, so I'm working, but I realize I need to go outside into my yard and enjoy it.
Yes.
And we have a little rope swing down at the
Yes.
rope swing.
Yes.
And, 15 again or whatever. What
And then you feel great afterwards, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Highly recommend. A couple more things. So, if your anxiety or guilt is coming from the loss of a client or the loss of a transaction, which how many of us have had that, right? You lose a client, you lose a transaction, and then I had a colleague once, and for like a year and a half, she lamented this lost transaction. You have to learn from it, and then you have to let it go. Because if you don't, it's going to impact all your future business. So one of the things that I highly recommend, which is painful, is when you lose a listing or you lose a client, is you need to ask them directly why. Thank you. I'm sorry I'm not able to help you. I wish things were different. I'm always working to improve myself. Is there something I could have done differently to help you, whatever. And a lot of people won't. I've had plenty of people, probably half, will never respond to you. which is fine, but at least you kind of got it off your chest, right? But a lot of them will give you feedback, and sometimes that feedback, you'll find out it's something that there's nothing you could have done. You know, it was their sister's neighbor's best friend that they, you know, promised 3 years ago they would buy a house from, and it was an accident that they met you. I don't know. There's, you know, sometimes there's just these things that it didn't matter what we do, we weren't going to be able to change it. It's important to know that. Or they're cutting their commission. It's important to know that. Or I remember one time I went on this listing appointment. I was sure I got it. We had a great conversation. It was a great appointment. They never mentioned a short sale. I never brought up a short sale, even though I had done, you know, many of them over the years. And I found out a couple days later I didn't get the listing. And I asked, well, you know, why? Well, we've decided to do a short sale, and we're going to work with so-and-so who's a short sale expert. Well, I didn't even think that was a possibility. So, of course, I never brought it up. So now part of my marketing materials includes other services, which talks about short sales. So like I learned from that experience, okay, you know what? I didn't really get deep enough into understanding their motivations and what was going on. And I had something I could have offered them, but I didn't even think to offer them. So doing that, I think, is really helpful. And then also when you lose something, you need to change the energy around it because it can make you feel bad. And what I've seen happen a lot of times is, and this happened with somebody in my office just the other day, just because you don't win the listing or you lose the client, sometimes they actually regret that they didn't work with you. And maybe they send you a referral later on, or maybe they break up with their listing agent and they come back to you. But they're only going to do that if they don't feel bad about it, because they, I'm sure, feel bad that they didn't work with you. So you need to make it okay, and you need to leave the door open. I always send a note. I'm sorry to not be able to help you. I wish you the best. If I can ever be of service to you in the future, please don't hesitate to contact me. And that works. It helps you to kind of change your energy, make it more positive. So try that. Any thoughts on that?
I did that with a client of mine. I had to go out of town, and then there was 2 funerals, and I let the ball. I dropped the ball with this client, and he ended up going with someone else. It just weighed on my heart.
Yep.
And I'm like, this is not how I do business. And I sent him an apology.
Good for you.
And I told him that I hope that he found the house that he needed.
Yeah.
Ever needed anything, give me a call. But it was like,
It was a weight.
it was a weight. It was
Yeah.
like, you know, I abandoned this person. And he felt abandoned. I just wanted to let him know that,
Yeah.
you know, I still wish him the best. And
Yeah.
he replied, thank you.
Well, you know what? Good for you for doing that, because I think a lot of times we make excuses for ourselves, right? Because sometimes we recognize that I could have done something differently, or maybe I did drop the ball, or I wasn't doing my best work. And so it's easy sometimes to make excuses. And I love that you didn't, and that you were very straightforward. And so I'm sure that's helped you to kind of move on from that situation too, right? Yeah.
I'm with you, I'm tracking, and I think that it's good. I think my struggle sometimes is, how do you actually let it go and not continue to dwell on it, or like think about it, or even have a regret, like, okay, I forgive, not forgive myself, but like I have moved on, sort of, but I'm still thinking about it, like, and I'm still bummed, and I've learned from it, but I don't.
So it depends on the situation. I had one a few years ago that really, like, it still bothers me, and so I unfollowed them on all social media and I took them out of my database. So, right? I mean, like, seriously, like, you have to understand, some are harder to deal with than others, and part of it is, I unfollowed them on all social media and I took them out of my database, and they no longer get my Christmas card. So, like, you know, like, you have to, because every time I saw their name, I would feel bad again. Right? So part of it is just having more business, and the more, the more business you have, the easier it is to just kind of, right? The easier it is to kind of let it go. And then some of them stick with you, and you just have to, it's just time. Just time.
One thing I was going to say in relation to that is, basically to what you're saying is, I don't hold on to anything too tightly anymore. I was holding on to everything. I was holding on to that listing appointment so tightly. I had to get in if I, so did you get some doozies that happen to you, and you're just like, you know what, I can't hold on. I'm going to go to this listing appointment, and even if it was amazing and we clicked on all levels, they may not still pick me.
Yeah.
So you have to, so I almost put up a little wall now, so that afterwards, if they don't pick me, and I mean, usually do, but if they don't, I'm not devastated and crying my eyes out at night, you know what I mean? And just, But I think it's harder when you don't have as much business.
It's exactly.
Because every single one means something to you, you know, and so I think it's easier when you get more business, but when it was like the one that you could have listed and got 3 more clients off of, you know, it's hard. So.
Does that answer your?
Yeah.
That helps you. Okay. Chrissy?
So Samantha's husband and I work together in the same office, and there's a little thing that we say, bless and release.
I have that written. Look right here. It's bless and release. It says it right here.
F them.
Yeah, and that works too. Totally. Yeah. That also works.
Yes,
it does.
It depends on the place you're in.
Yeah.
Depends on where you are.
A good place or a bad place, but F them also works, and then you can laugh about it and then move on.
Yeah.
Okay, Diane.
The other thing, I love all realtors.
Yes.
But I fired my first realtor in 4.5 years.
Wow.
It
Good for you.
I'm getting somewhere when you were asking, like, how do you deal with that? I was very anxiety filled about letting this realtor know that I no longer wanted to work with them. And it bothered me for like 2 hours after I got this horrific phone call from them. Horrific. And it was just sort of the whole transaction was manic. Like from start until the crescendo of me having to take my phone off speaker in my neighborhood while walking my dog because I was like, oh my God. So I was very stressful about it, but what I did was I just decided to lean into all the realtors who know me and know that phone call wasn't about me. It was about that manic person.
Yes.
So I just like leaned into all the realtors who know me and to pray that this person doesn't trash me on social media. And then when I was talking to my husband about it that night, I was like, you know what? Anybody who would believe her, I don't want to work with anyway because it means they're going to be just like that.
Yes.
So just like lean into the good. Like
So good, Diane. Yeah, yeah. So good.
But it's hard.
Yes.
I mean, it's hard to like get that off your shoulders.
Yes.
Did I get the right thing?
Yeah.
Because I could have hurt my business by doing this, but not really.
Yes.
It was like the second chance I had given this realtor in like 4 years. And
Money ain't worth it.
I had that recently, earlier this year, these clients that have not been loyal and I've worked with on and off over the years. And I was, I'm yammering on and on about something. And Vicky's like, why do you let them bother you? Like, why do you even bother to work with them? You have plenty of, like, why are they so important to you? And we get worked up sometimes. We do. We're pleasers.
And the people you can't please, if you're really like a good person, really,
it gets you.
professional person, they're not the people that you should be with.
100%.
Yeah. You take it personally.
Yeah, you do. You do. Yeah.
I saw just a motivational thing I watched this morning, and it was saying how, President Obama, when he went up there to do his acceptance speech, and it was this monumentous occasion and blah, blah, blah. There's still 49% of people who hated him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're not going to please everybody.
No.
You're
So true.
Even, very well liked, the most popular person on the planet still has half the people who hate him.
That's right.
So it's okay. You're not going to please everybody.
Yeah. And that's true in our business. I think the more business you do, the more successful you are, the more you put yourself out there, unfortunately, the more scrutiny you're going to get. And that there are people who will not like whatever you do. And it's not because of what you're doing. It's because it's that fear and abundance that you talked about because you're kind of bringing that up.
Well, Diane, I think the new stats are showing people are not believing reviews anymore. So all those written reviews are kind of out the window now because they all look at it and they all know that there should be a crazy 100 reviews, and then you discount that, right? And you discount the best ones as their mom and their sister.
Well, I wasn't. So in this case, I wasn't even worried about that. I was worried about more of like trashing it to
other people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Realtor's not.
But you're right.
Like,
She's
to
attracting
jump on.
people like her. So
Totally.
Right.
You took it away the right way.
Yep.
But I just thought that was an interesting stat that people don't see them anymore.
Yes.
Not necessarily in staging, but years of experience with
Crazy people.
knowing that if somebody's really going off, 50% of it's not about you.
Nothing to do with it.
And probably 75% of it's not about you.
Totally.
And I did learn something from it though.
Yeah.
Because I learned that by letting this person change my business model and trying to please them in a way, and I'm sure for realtors it's the same way, everybody has their own business model. It's like if you allow somebody to change your business model and you don't want to change your business model, then you're setting yourself up for a situation. Now I'm not excusing behavior, but I'm just saying.
You're so right.
But And if you stick by your business model,
Yep.
you will
Yes.
attract who you want.
It's what we started with, right? We do it to ourselves, right? I've got two more quick things. So one of them is, and I am a broken record about this, is tracking. You know, again, we get so emotional and we get so anxious and and a lot of times those emotions and those feelings that we're having are not based in reality. So if you spend some time, like I believe in doing, in tracking, you know, how many clients you've worked with, or how many people are in your database, or how many people have you called, or how, you know, I could go and look and tell you how many notes I've written this year. When I'm feeling terrible because I missed something and I dropped something, I can go back and say, you know what, that's unfortunate that I did that, but maybe I blessed 400 people by writing them a note this year. So having that data can actually help you to get grips with reality sometimes. So that's one of the reasons I love tracking. And then just know why you're doing this in the first place. I am a control person, and I like to control things. And when I don't feel that sense of control tends to be when I get super anxious. And so remember, what's the purpose of, why are you, this business, our business is too hard and expensive in terms of money and time and our emotional well-being to not love it and to not want to put the time and effort into it. And so if you're doing it because you think this is nobody in this room I know, but if you're doing it because you think it's just a quick paycheck, it's just not going to work, right? So you need to understand what's your purpose. Is it, putting your children through college? Is it, paying for family vacations? What is the goal? What's your purpose? Anything else?
Just on the idea I may have gotten it from you or somebody on the PSR group, but about when you don't get the listing or something happened, emailing or I've texted them. I've done this a couple times now, saying exactly what you said. Where I'm always trying to improve. What could I have done better? That has been very good. And then the other thing I have found is I do a lot of new home builds, and I worked recently with a builder that was just really annoying. Like told my clients on multiple occasions that we'd like to lower the price, but we have to pay your agent. So anyway, and I was ready to just like rip him a new there's a few different things, right? And something just told me no, don't do it. Well, that builder referred me 2 clients that year. So I held my tongue, which is very hard for me to do, and I just didn't. I just kept it very cordial, and I found that over and over and over again and same with the people that I had helped, and then they used this other agent that never even showed them the home, and it was like a $30,000 commission. I was so upset, and I expressed, that was actually concerns about it, and they were like, "We are so sorry they referred me to someone." So if you keep it all very nice and
very professional,
and hey, I'm here to help, you will be surprised.
You will be. And it's not that you're allowing yourself to be bulldozed, it's that you are holding yourself at a very professional level, right? And probably with that builder, maybe he did have a negative connotation to agents and I've got to pay them, but you showed him your value, and so that's why he was willing to refer to you.
I hate to keep following up on things. Usually you just trigger things for me. But I learned something early on in my career, and it was from my manager. Probably the best piece of advice I've ever gotten is always be gracious.
Mm-hmm.
Always be gracious. And you showed that you were graceful and you held your own, and that's why it came back to you. So
that's right.
I think no matter how disappointed you are, how F you want to be, the whole just maintaining grace. Whenever we in our business, Jordan and
Jessica.
Yes, you can relate. Like people rate shop, it's not personal. They're gonna go where get the best deal. It might not be me that day. Yeah. And you just have to say, good luck.
Yes. And who can I help?
And you really have to feel that too. Like you want the best for everyone. Yes. So just project that.
That's it. Yeah. Perfect note to end on. So our next meetup is going to be on October 10th. We'll be here, and it will be all about client events. So I'm a big believer in client events. I love client events. They don't have to be big and fancy. They can be very small scale. So we're going to talk about all of the options. And then just to give a heads up, our November meetup is going to be on November 21st. So that's actually later than what we normally do, but I'm going to be out of town. We have vacation in our team retreat. So we're going to do it on the 21st, which is the week before Thanksgiving. So just to put that out there. Okay, thank you guys.
If you enjoyed watching this program, then I hope that next month you will either visit one of our in-person events. We have them in a variety of different cities all across the country. You can go onto the Facebook group to see all of the different locations. Or if you are a member of Empower Coaching, then you will be able to get the copy of this video as part of your monthly membership. If you're interested in learning more about that, just go to empoweringwomeninrealestate.com/membership.